Now, we're talking about, at the moment, Move4Parkinsons, which is a group that supports people with Parkinson's. We're talking to Kate Gray, who's the Secretary of Fundraising. And Kate, you're very, very welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. So you might tell us a bit about Parkinson's, what is it and what the symptoms are.
Okay, so I suppose like many people, they think of Parkinson's as a tremor or, movement disorder. However, 15 years ago, my own dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and I suppose a lot of people describe it as the designer disease because nobody's two symptoms are the same. So there's approximately 40 different types of symptoms that people with
Oh,
Parkinson's can experience. Obviously, a lot of them are movement related. There's a lot of issues with, with balance. A lot of people get like freezing gait where they can't step forward. Dyskinesia, where their body has a lot of involuntary movements. And then I suppose on top of that, the medication can start to cause some side effects. So I suppose in our case, my dad's movement was never really affected. He never got the typical tremor, but he suffered from very bad hallucinations. So
oh,
he would see a lot of things in the world around him that in his brain and in his mind were 100% there, but not in the real world. So he would think
right.
that there was animals in the garden. He would think that there was people in the houses. So I suppose then maybe since COVID, his condition has got worse, and he's now experiencing a lot more of those 40 different symptoms that
Okay.
people can experience.
And tell me this, does he attend Move4Parkinsons?
Yep. So
Right.
it was about 13 years ago. I watched a documentary that was made by PBS in the States where it followed Move for Parkinson's as they visited the Parkinson's Congress over in Canada. Um, and I remember at that stage, Parkinson's was like the elephant in the room. Nobody wanted to speak about it in my family. Anything that you Google, if you put Parkinson's disease into Google, you're going to hear that it's progressive, degenerative, and incurable. And I
Yeah.
suppose those were the words that kept playing around in my head. How can I best support dad live that he's got this progressive deteriorating disease? And I'd say for the first year or two, there was nothing really that caught my eye that I could do to support him. And then one night I couldn't sleep and I stumbled across the documentary that RTE had been showing. And I thought, okay, there's a charity out there that runs choirs, that runs evidence-based classes on a weekly basis. Maybe that's something that we could do. We've always enjoyed singing as a family, so I thought that would be my first tact. However, he wasn't as open to it as
Right.
I was. However, me being me, I booked us into an open choir rehearsal that I'd seen advertised on Facebook. And believe it or not, the night before he rang me and he told me that he would attend. And I suppose when you reflect back for him and for my mum, they probably didn't know what they were going to experience, what they were going to see when they walked through the doors that first night. But that was 13 years ago. And we have choir every Thursday night. In fact, we're going
Yeah.
up there this evening. And I'm a teacher in my real job, but I was very passionate about what I was seeing our family experience through Move4
Yeah.
Parkinson's. 12 years ago, I joined the board to be able to give back and support other people living with this disease and other family members. So most days of the week, there's different evidence-based classes that are run, not just for people with Parkinson's, but their families and friends, because we're all in this together.
Yeah. Now, before we get into all that, I'll take you through Move4Parkinsons. When was it founded and why?
So Move4 Parkinson's was founded about 15 years ago by a lady called Mags Mallarney, who at the age of 48, 49, was given a diagnosis of Parkinson's. And I suppose for her, she was young, she was had a family, she wanted to be able to fight this disease as best she could. And there was no evidence-based classes currently being run in Ireland. So after about a year's research, she set up the very first conference, and at that conference there was a group of people who sang together, and then from that the first Voices of Hope choir was established. And then I suppose over the years, different classes as research is available to us. Move4Parkinsons have been in a position to run a variety of classes and support groups, which have proved vital to so many.
Now, you told us that the classes are evidence-based.
Yeah.
What is that evidence?
Well, I suppose for the
Is it something that when you get involved in these classes, you take a little bit more control of your disease, or?
well, I suppose researchers out there have studied the effect of music for people with Parkinson's, for dance, and then all of the class directors that would run classes for us have gone to the specific training, whether that's in the UK, in the States. So there's evidence to show that, not that it's going to stop the disease, but hopefully help to slow down the progression. And I suppose for the choirs, like the evidence out there, and is that people with Parkinson's can lose their voice. So not just their physical voice, but also their voice in society because the symptoms are so unpredictable. So I suppose our Dublin choir is run by a speech and language therapist, so she would do a lot of the exercises to enable people to best protect their voice and best use their voice. A lot of people's voices can become much quieter and much softer, so they think that they're talking at a tone where everybody can hear them perfectly, but
Yeah.
actually they're talking very quietly. So there's a lot of emphasis on speaking loud and learning how to articulate so that others can hear you. So I suppose that's where the main body of research. There's always research being carried out. There's always students that are studying the effects of music therapy or studying the power of exercise for people with Parkinson's. So there's continual research going out there. And I suppose we're very conscious that the classes that we offer, that we can reassure people that there is evidence behind them.
Very good. I was very taken. I went through your website, obviously,
Okay.
because I pick out all this information.
Sure.
I was very taken with the Voice of Hope choirs, which is a fantastic thing to do.
Yeah, and I suppose even on some Thursday nights when I'm finished nearly a week's work and I'm thinking, oh, do I really want to go to choir tonight? But then you go there and like Thursday nights I barely sleep because the endorphins and the feel good factor.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing more powerful than being in a room with people and the sound of a voice. And I suppose when there's certain songs, like our songs are picked for a reason, they always have a meaning, they always have a story behind them. And I suppose our anthem song is Something Inside So Strong, which really is a very, very powerful song. The lyrics are powerful. And when you put a group of people with Parkinson's and their families together singing that song, um, yeah. And any of the concerts, any of the fundraisers that we've done, there's never a dry eye in the house.
One of the other things I saw was one-to-one singing. What's the
Yeah, so we're very
benefits of that?
well, I suppose what happened during lockdown was that obviously our choirs were not able to meet. And we're very blessed to have Honor Heffernan. A lot of you will know her, uh, who was running a choir for us at that stage. But during lockdown, she was able to do one-to-one sessions with people who had been in the choir prior to lockdown. And I suppose our intention was never that it would still be running 6 years later, but I suppose people like that one-to-one session. They like to be able to, hone in on some of their favorite songs. And then those one-to-one singers will meet every 4 or 5 weeks and perform for each other the songs that they've been working on. So again,
Brilliant.
it's about bringing the community and the people together.
I asked you this last time. I'm going to ask you again. What's the benefits of set dancing?
Set dancing, I suppose, like don't ask me to set dance. There's absolutely no way that I could do it. But I think it's the beat, it's the rhythm of the music, it's having to multitask, it's having to remember where to go, what. And I suppose obviously you're moving your arms, you're moving your legs, you're moving parts of your body that might not necessarily move to walk, but something in the beat and the tempo of the music just gets the brain fired. So yeah, we had a conference back in April and we had a demonstration from our set dancers. And I think all the neurologists were there, couldn't believe their eyes that their patients that sometimes might struggle to come into their clinic rooms were up there dancing. So yeah, there's a lot to be said for the Irish music, and we're very blessed that Pat O'D travels from Limerick every week for I'd say the last 14 years to
Wow,
run these classes for us in Dublin. So there's commitment for you.
that must be really uplifting.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing I'm really taken with was shared stories, and I read a few of them.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
must be a great, they must be a great thing for somebody coming in for the first time, especially.
Yeah, and I suppose we set up the support groups after COVID as well because we lost unfortunately 22 people out of our group, and we weren't able to pay our respects at their funeral, or we weren't able to, you know, be with families during that time. And the choir would sing at a lot of the funerals of people who've been in the choir who have passed away. So we were conscious as a board not to just reopen our choirs and our dance classes, that we needed to support people emotionally. The person that they sat beside in choir or danced with might no longer be there. So we needed to support that. So from that, the support groups were set up. And I suppose what I always say is that we're all on a different journey, but there's a lot of overlap. And I think people think that they get it, but actually it's really only the other family members or the daughters or the sons or the husbands or the wives that truly, truly get it. And I suppose to be able to know that you're not alone is so important.
Yeah.
When my dad was first diagnosed, my friend gave me a little wooden plaque and it said, "Difficult journeys lead to beautiful destinations." And I quote that a lot because, like, if I look, well, I get emotional now, but if I look back to 14 whatever years ago that my dad was diagnosed, little did I think I would be sitting on a board, that I'd be organizing conferences, that we'd be doing fundraising shows, that the children in my school would be doing intergenerational concerts with the choir for the last 10 years. So out of out of a diagnosis that is incurable, progressive and degenerative, like there's nice bits of joy and friendships
Yeah.
along the way.
That's certainly in that group. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And can you tell us what the five elements, they are very important, are?
I suppose the five elements are just a framework that, again, through research, we've implemented. So it's about, like, medication aware, certain foods at certain times, making sure your timing of medication is correct. Like protein can interact with certain Parkinson's medication, so it's just being aware of that. And then the importance of nutrition, to have a balanced diet and not to get dehydrated, to ensure that you're drinking enough so that the medication is transported around your body. And then the third element is exercise. I mean, exercise is good for us all, but I suppose with Parkinson's, you're trying to ensure that you can keep your movement and, you know, keep
Yeah.
keep keep walking, keep being able to do things for yourself and keep that independence. So exercise is extremely important. I suppose we touched on it then, the emotional well-being. So the support groups are there. As I said, the classes are there for people with Parkinson's and their families and friends so that they can come together in a community of love and support. And then I suppose the fifth element is optimal treatment. So some people would choose to maybe have acupuncture or reflexology, or different treatments that are out there just even for their own well-being. So yeah, they're the five elements. I
Brilliant.
suppose not just people with Parkinson's need to live by, but
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
all of us need to live by.
We should all live by them.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
exactly.
tell me, how many members have you?
There's probably currently about maybe 200 on our books. I suppose we're a voluntary board, so we
Yeah.
have no paid CEO. We have a part-time administrator who does 20 hours a month. So currently we have classes in Dublin North, Dublin South, uh, Mullingar, and Wicklow. And I suppose at the moment that's all that we can look after and ensure that they're correct and running well. We would love to be nationwide, but like everything, finance,
Yeah.
etc., etc., is the stumbling block.
Now, given your own role, you must fundraise. Have you anything coming up soon?
We've had, well, I suppose more recently we've had a few people running the BHI mini marathon
Brilliant.
for us. So, I mean, that's fantastic because there doesn't need to be a lot of input from us. So we hand it over to family members and to friends. So that's fantastic. We've had Dun Laoghaire Rat Down. We had a busking session in People's Park, and again, we're like the traveling circus. We need to bring the choir and our sound equipment, and that's fantastic. We had a big conference then in April. Like I said, we've been in contact by another choir who would like to run a joint performance with us. And again, they're happy to take the lead. And then I suppose up until now, we've had a big Christmas concert. This year, we're actually doing it at the end of November due to logistics around choir directors and venues,
Yeah.
etc., etc. And that's an intergenerational concert that we run in conjunction with Move4Parkinsons and the pupils from St. Nicholas Montessori Primary School in Dunleary. So that's going to be on the last Saturday in November.
Fabulous. So, can you give out the contact details?
Sure. So we have a number, our mobile number, and our number is 089 469 0401. So you can either drop us a message or give us a call on that number. And then info@move4parkinsons.com is our email address. And then www.move4parkinsons is our website. And it's not FOR, it's the number 4. So
I
move
was just
for
going to add that.
There you go.
Kate, thank you so much for talking to us at Disability Matters.
No problem at all. Anytime. Thank you for your
It's
time.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.